What's up, Niner faithful? Welcome back to the channel. You know the deal, we're here to talk all things San Francisco 49ers, and the team is constantly striving for improvement to bring home those big wins. Before we jump into the latest news, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always up to date with the 49ers action. Today, we've got some big updates as we prepare for a massive Week 7 showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a rematch that we've been waiting for since Super Bowl 54. But before we get too hyped for the game, there are some injury concerns we need to talk about, including news on Jauan Jennings and Jordan Mason. Let's dive into what's happening on the field and what it could mean for this crucial game. Let's start with Jauan Jennings. The wide receiver hasn't practiced all week due to a hip injury, which is casting some serious doubt over whether he'll be ready to suit up for Sunday's game against the Chiefs. Head coach Kyle Shanahan gave us an update on this during a recent interview on KNBR, and the news isn't looking great. According to Shanahan, Jennings is in danger of missing the game entirely. He's at risk of not playing, Shanahan said on Thursday. We're hoping he can make a strong recovery and feel better by tomorrow, but as of now, there's no guarantee he'll be ready. This is definitely a blow to our wide receiver depth. Jennings has been a solid contributor as a physical, reliable target in the slot. With Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel commanding a lot of defensive attention, Jennings' role as that chain mover and third down weapon has been critical. If he can't go, it's going to put extra pressure on the other receivers to step up. So, Niner faithful, if Jennings doesn't recover in time, who do you think should step up? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. Now, here's a bit of good news for a change. Jordan Mason, our hard-running backup to Christian McCaffrey, looks like he'll be good to go against the Chiefs. Mason was dealing with an AC joint sprain that he picked up during last week's game against the Seattle Seahawks, but after some limited participation in practice, Shanahan seems optimistic about Mason's availability. He's doing well, Shanahan said about Mason. We've kept him in a non-contact jersey to make sure we don't worsen the injury, but he's handled it well. He's dealt with something like this before, so I think he'll be good by Sunday. This is huge for the 49ers because with CMC banged up and managing his Achilles tendonitis, the load on the backfield has fallen to Mason. And this dude has been a workhorse, showing flashes of greatness. Even with limited touches, he's been powerful between the tackles and has shown that he can be relied upon in critical situations. Now, let's shift the conversation a bit because, as many of you know, the NFL trade deadline is just around the corner. With injuries piling up, especially with key players like Christian McCaffrey and Dre Greenlaw, there's been a lot of buzz about whether John Lynch will make a move to bolster the squad for a deep playoff push. The 49ers are no strangers to making bold moves around the trade deadline. Last year's acquisition of Christian McCaffrey is a perfect example. So, could we see Lynch go all in again this year? Here are some of the areas the 49ers might target. First up, the defensive line. Yes, we've got Nick Bosa, and he's been an absolute wrecking ball for opposing quarterbacks, but we've had some depth issues with injuries to our defensive front. According to reports, Haason Reddick from the Jets could be a player the Niners look to add. Reddick's versatility as a pass rusher could make an immediate impact on the other side of Bosa, creating a lethal 1-2 punch that offenses would fear. If the Jets fall further out of playoff contention, they might be willing to part ways with Reddick for the right price. And let's not forget about the Detroit Lions. With Aiden Hutchinson out for the season, they might also be in the market for some help on the defensive line, which could influence the trade market. Who do you think would be a better fit to complement Bosa, Haason Reddick or someone else? Let me know in the comments. Another area of concern for the 49ers is the offensive line. The protection for Brock Purdy has been inconsistent, and though we're hoping to get John Feliciano back soon, there's no denying the need for more stability up front. With our high-stakes offense relying on both the run and pass game, a breakdown in O-line play could derail everything. However, finding quality offensive linemen at this point in the season isn't easy. Teams are reluctant to part with players who protect their quarterbacks, especially if they're eyeing the playoffs. But some teams, like the Panthers or Bears, who are clearly in rebuild mode, might be open to dealing veteran linemen for future draft picks. It's a challenge for sure, but if anyone can pull off a mid-season trade to solidify the trenches, it's John Lynch. Finally, let's talk about special teams, which has been a point of concern for the 49ers this season. With Jake Moody dealing with an injury, we recently brought in Matthew Wright to handle kicking duties. But as the playoffs approach, the need for a reliable kicker becomes critical. Imagine being in a tight playoff game, with everything on the line, and not feeling confident in your kicker. That's a nightmare scenario. A veteran kicker with playoff experience, like Will Lutz from the Broncos, could bring the kind of stability the Niners need in those pressure-packed moments. Heck, even Robbie Gould might still be on the radar for a late-season reunion. After all, his playoff heroics are etched in Niners history. Do you guys think the Niners should stick with Wright or make a move for a seasoned kicker? I want to hear your thoughts. Now, if history tells us anything, John Lynch isn't afraid to make bold moves at the trade deadline. We've seen it with big-time acquisitions like Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Chase Young, and Randy Gregory. Lynch knows what it takes to make a deep postseason run, and he's proven time and again that he's willing to pull the trigger on deals that can elevate this team. With injuries mounting, this might be another year where Lynch goes after a short-term rental to provide depth or make a splash. Even if it's just for the stretch run, adding the right piece could give the 49ers that extra push they need to stay healthy and competitive as they chase another Super Bowl title. Who do you think Lynch should target at the trade deadline? Do you believe another big move is on the horizon? Let me know in the comments. Alright, faithful, we've covered a lot today, from Jauan Jennings potentially missing the game against the Chiefs, to Jordan Mason being good to go, to the all-important trade deadline decisions. Now, it's time to hear from you. Should the 49ers go after a defensive lineman like Haason Reddick? Should we bolster the O-line or find a veteran kicker? Or do you think we're good with what we have? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get this conversation going. I want to know what you think about the current state of the team and what moves we should make to stay Super Bowl contenders. Before you head out, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Niners!